RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. We are back at it again for a midweek live stream. And of course, from the title itself, let you know what we're going to be talking about, as well as whatever else you guys want to touch on. But I was actually watching some of the developments of what's happening in Philadelphia, on top of all the other things happening in the financial realm, and realizing that, what we're witnessing now is we're already well within what will be considered the collapse of America, and not just America itself. The entire global monetary system, as we've known it, is in complete disarray. And so I got a couple articles I want to share with you to touch on that, as well as find out whatever else is out there that I may not have been able to cover. But welcome to the live stream. My name is Mike, the host. Excited to be back for another live stream, as well as want to, in the next couple minutes of whatnot, I put out last night the opportunity for a giveaway. Give you guys a chance to receive a free T-shirt on me, and so I'm going to pick a winner in a moment, and so I'll give it a second so we can hopefully get more people tuned in, and hopes of the winner actually being present this evening. And so let me check in via chat, and then we will get into some of the articles I have that I want to touch on. We got King D in the building. We got Brando Philman. We got Florida Princess Moonshot 360. King D, I love my country. Okay. It says, I just got back from rescuing shoes from Foot Locker in Philadelphia. Oh, man. We got T. We got Jake. We got Ravinder. What else we got here? We got JoJo. We got Jay. We got Adonis. Identity Block. We got King D. Okay. Good amount of people in the building. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Miss Bree in the building as well. And so thanks for tuning in. And of course, the collapse of America, man. Like, this is something that we've been talking about for quite some time here on this channel. And it was never meant to be solely, Mike talk about us doom and gloom. No, not at all. It's more so just to narrate and to try to steer these waters that we're all a part of. And it's unfortunate that as a result of all the things that's been done to humanity, it will turn out to be an overwhelmingly downright dark and dirty time for the majority. But yet there's always hope, because as I like to mention, the king is still on the throne, and so nothing is a surprise to him. And so we got Queen, we got Adonis. Okay, so let me get into a couple articles, and I'll skim through everything that I have here, because more than likely, as things get started, I never really get a chance to get fully into my my little rants or whatnot, because I end up ranting too much. But what really made me want to talk about the collapse side of things was, I put out a picture earlier. Let me pull it up here. That really, it made me chuckle, but then also it kind of hit a nerve, because I'm thinking, like, we have a good amount of people out here that's using these tragedies as an excuse to go out and do all types of crime. And so here's a picture here, and I posted this earlier on the community page here, because I was strolling through Twitter, and I saw a news reporter, right there talking, and the cameraman zoomed right behind him, and I couldn't help but notice that, of course, they highlighted this guy right here walking with what looks like a washer. And so he's coming out of a building in Philadelphia, with the dolly and everything, pushing a washer down the street. And I'm thinking, like, wow, like how bad is things really, to where you use the death of an individual as an excuse to go out and burn and loot. And of course, it's nothing new, but it's unfortunate. And so it's just, this picture here is like, man, let's talk about this, because this is clearly, what a collapse looked like, when you have people actually thinking that they're walking away from this particular moment here. It would, like what some people like to say, on a come up, meaning that they left this little Stilling venture a lot better off than they went in with the washer machine. So yeah, man. Like, and so I've watched it. So actually, I want to go right to that. So I typed in Philly, and so this is as of last night. And so actually last night when we were streaming live, all this stuff was happening, and I heard about it, but just didn't have time to go over to it. But as of tonight at 9 p.m., there's a curfew. So I'm assuming, things might be a little bit more calmer, but I'm not sure. But just another example of how the mainstream media is jumping all on this. And of course, I saw a statement made earlier by Biden saying that he condones looting and rioting now. I'm not sure about Trump. I haven't followed him, so I don't know what he said about it. But in the city, man, like just this is unimaginable that is occurring again, but yet not too surprised. And then as a result of another life lost, it's very tragic. But yeah, I also saw a video comparing a car. So I guess this video as well here of how there's several Caucasians that wave knives at police officers, and they have the little beating sticks, whereas in Philadelphia the guy came at him with a knife and they put 14 in him. So it's unfortunate, man, but that's just how this system is, man. But clearly the individual, I'm not sure his name, Walter or whatnot, clearly had some mental issues, because I'm not quite sure what would lead you to charge at police officers with guns drawn. But once again, we'll get a better take as things come out. But any loss of life is tragic, regardless of how it's done. So, but yeah, man, that's what it is. So I want to actually touch on a couple of other stories as well, and then I'll actually get into the drawing for the opportunity of winning the shirt here. So let me put up on the screen here just some articles I grabbed that kind of give more of an indication as to what a collapse in the beginning looks like. And of course, we couldn't go too far without talking about the recent activity over the last couple of days in the equities markets. And so once again, I haven't heard Trump not once, and somebody let me know if I'm wrong, but I haven't heard him not once mention, your 401ks, like how, your 401ks are doing good. Like last time I heard that, I think was last week when it was, when the markets were in a green, he threw out the idea of, how wonderful you should be feeling if your 401k, if your 401k, if you have a 401k at this time. And so incorporating that as a part of his campaign trail is not necessarily a smart thing to do, because I had imagined as a part of this controlled demolition of the current financial system, the banks are definitely, from what I'm gathering, doing a great job of causing this due to the whole credit pinch. And I'm seeing articles now talking about the Federal Reserve doesn't have the ability to save the markets anymore and all that stuff like that. But realize, it's a part of the plan. Like the goal is to create as much desperation and much destruction as possible to then come in and be the savior. So these last couple of days of ending in the red, is nothing new, but it will go down further. And so I saw a comment here I want to touch on. Jose, I like that, my friend. And so a part of this this current collapse, it only further increases the gap between those that have and those that do not. And of course, the wealth gap is what I'm referring to. And so just from the picture I showed of individuals out there rioting and looting, coming out with shoes, and, we have those that have a lack of monetary and financial awareness are the ones that are easier to go out in the streets to grab an item of very little overall value and consider it something that they might end up, trying to flip and make a couple dollars off of. But then, on the other side of that spectrum, we have the entire financial system that's set up against humanity in the most sense. And it starts with the central banks. I got an article here talking about how thus far today, $11 trillion globally has been brought into existence as in the name of stimulus. And it's not enough. It's not working, because once again, you can't solve a debt problem with more debt. It just only compounds on more and more and more. And especially when you run into an environment where negative rates now, Israel just announced a new program where they're going to implement negative borrowing rates, negative borrowing costs. So they're going to be incentivizing banks to offer consumers a negative rate. And then the central banks will come in to help the commercial banks absorb some of those losses, because once again, if it's negative, that means you're getting less back in return. And so it's more schemes that they're coming out with, but yet we have economists talking about how that could be something that more central banks could do. And so once again, we could be in our boat as well. But I like how you put it, Jose, about the PPP program. So the PPP program was a part of the whole CARES Act, and that was designed to funnel the funds to corporate America. And so you got the heist in a corporate world, and you got the pennies that's trickled down to the main street in the form of the stimulus checks and the so-called PPP aid to provide further funds for payroll. But yet, once again, all the big boys up top are getting liquefied first. And those funds are what they're complaining about now And as a result of that, I got an article right here talking about layoffs. And so once again, remember how the airlines said that by October 1st, there was going to be 35 or 40, some crazy amount of layoffs. And of course, here we are now. There's been no stimulus because they're going to hold off to after the election. But more than likely, that's going to be rolled over more. It's going to be probably, they'll talk about it again officially in 2021, if that. But the airlines, here's the article. Here's the airlines travel groups warn of more job cuts as the aid talks stall. So once again, I haven't heard nothing about the airlines beyond them threatening that on October 1st or 2nd, whatever it was, they were going to lay off all those, large amount of individuals. And so if they stayed true to their word, then there's a lot of people in the flight industry that's no longer employed. And that's just, what we're talking about here. And then here's something I want to talk about. So once again, because of the word cases has become it's been the front runner for what has been labeled as the economy killer. And so it says the post-COVID zombification of the advanced economies is here to stay. So once again, this plays into how, as I said just a minute ago, the G20 countries have so far announced stimulus programs worth about 11 trillion, which at this current point is public debt to GDP is at 140%, like beyond, like, so these numbers here with what would be thrown out there in times of war. Like, if you go back to World War II, these type of stats here, if you look on the graphs or whatnot, the type of monetizing as well as the type of debt that was being brought into existence. So clearly, they've always talked about this being a different form of a war, using words such as frontline workers and essential workers and all those war terminologies. But basically what this article is all about here is that they're doing everything they can to try to pump in liquidity in the form of a word stimulus, but it's not working. And all it's doing is like it's done in the past. It makes the corporate world, as well as all the markets that are being juiced up with this funny currency, it makes it more dependent upon a continuation of this type of currency. And so there'll be no way of going back to the norm, especially as you have the millions of businesses that close down with all the massive unemployment. So this is a part of the controlled demolition of a monetary system, just beyond this state here. And then let me see here. What else I got here? Here's another interesting article from last night. It says million poised to lose unemployment benefits and enormous cliff as the year ends. So I think I might have mentioned this last night, but yet once again, more destruction coming on the home front here in America, on top of the food shortages, on top of all the other things that's going to be thrown at us. So yeah, this is these next 60 days. We got 60 days left in 2020. And boy, are we in for a heck of a ride in these 60 days. So yeah, that's what's going on, man. And so now that we got a couple people in here, as always, I'm going to open up the phone lines. I'm curious to get your thoughts on what did I miss that's a part of this collapse that we can throw in the same category as well. And so I see here it says Bible study says Bitcoin will be outlawed to use after Fed coin is out. Great assessment, my friend. And my personal opinion, and I think I mentioned this before, the whole cryptocurrency blockchain technology was used as a tool to get us to this point of excitement, because a lot of people are extremely excited, thinking that there's freedom in a publicly visible, wide open bank account known as Bitcoin. Like, I was thinking about this earlier. Show me your Bitcoin address, I can tell you how much funds you're sitting on. Whereas and that's one of the things that people say it's a digital cash, or it can be used as cash. No, like I can give you my wallet. You don't know what's in it. And that's a big difference. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think it's a part of the illusion, but it is what it is. And it's not going away. But yet my personal opinion on how it will end is simply Bitcoin is the digital gold that everybody's banking on and hanging their hopes on. Once all central banks around this world rather, have their central bank digital currencies up and running, and it becomes legal tender to where they issue it out to the public, a majority of the population have their digital wallets on their phone, all 7 billion people, whatever. At that point, the governments will have to then utilize some type of legislation to make it so that people will be discouraged on doing anything digital outside of what's controlled by the government. So all they have to do is simply find out where all the miners are at. And of course, China has 65% of the hash power. So, once the yuan is up and rolling, you better believe the Chinese are going to cut off all those miners, because all you got to do is look at the energy grid and see who's drawing the most power. and cut all those rigs off, and that's going to definitely cause a major lack of confidence and blow in the Bitcoin game, especially. And then all the other projects might still be around, but all it takes is, a major dip in that Bitcoin price for a lot of people to be shaken out of their boots and end up selling. Now, will it go to zero? No, because I don't think, if there's, that's the good part about it, is that because it's decentralized and the protocol and the program can be ran on different computers, it'll still be out and about and usable. But as far as it becoming that institutional type of thing, we'll see. But anyway, I'm doing too much ranting, man. Let me get these phone lines. So we got about 229 people on the line. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to open up the phone lines. And so as last night, I made a promise to try to get more activity in the community. So I want to actually give back a little bit. So t-shirt here. So this or any other kind of t-shirt I mentioned last night, all you had to do was hashtag get your weight up, which is what this whole slogan is about. And then leave a comment with the hashtag get your weight up. And so I'm going to actually put it on the screen here so you guys can see, and then we'll do a little draw, see how this goes. And so here's a little piece of software here that allows you to extract keywords that you're looking for. And so here we have from last night's video, I filtered it out and I use the words hashtag all connected, hashtag get your weight up. And there were 11 people that did that as mentioned. And so I'm going to hit start. And when start, it says it'll start your raffle and it'll pick the random winner. So I'm going to hit start right now and we'll get this underway and see who the winner will be. And so the winner is JJ. So winner, JJ, if you are on the chat right now, let me know if you're on the chat, and then we'll figure out a way to connect and communicate so I can get you a shirt, my friend, that you pick out what color you want. And so if there's a JJ in the building, definitely let me know via chat, my friend. Appreciate you for participating. And so the next giveaway will be Monday, where I'm going to give away to the RTD community. So I'm gonna restrict it to those that are in the actual Patreon group. And so I'm going to actually put one of these beauties in the hand. I'm gonna put one of these little hand poured rounds, get your weight up rounds, in the hands of those that are on the Patreon. So if you're interested in entering into that, all you have to do is support the channel via Patreon, and you guys can be entered automatically in that draft there, in a raffle there, whatever it's going to call. So, all right. So let me see here. Is there Mr. JJ around? So hopefully before tonight's over with, I'll hear from a Mr. JJ. And if not, then I'll probably do another thing and see what we can do. Anyway, okay. So let me open these phone lines up. Let's talk a little bit, man. I'm curious to get your thoughts. Curious to get your thoughts on what's happening out in Philly, and where will that lead to? And how does this current event, how does that lead us into next Tuesday? It's going to be a question. So I'm curious to find out what you guys think. Give me a call. Let's talk, as well as whatever else is going on out there, because of course there's more subject than I can cover on my own. And then I also want to bring to your attention, let me pull something up here. Let me make sure the phone lines are open, and then we can talk further. And so I have to cut the phone on if I'm going to get any calls. But let me find this article here that I was talking about earlier that plays into, it's a map, a very interesting map about negative rates. So let me see if I can find this map here, because when I saw this, I was like, wow. There is a race to the base. And what does that mean? Less purchasing power, less of any type of wealth will be in the populace possession, because their currency will be worth nothing. And so here's let me pull this on the screen here. Let me find this. Here we go. So let me find this here. So here is a little article that came out, and this is about, as I mentioned, for those that are tuning in, I mentioned how the Israeli central bank is doing something new. They're proposing lending, and they're dropping the borrowing rates down to negative 0.1. And of course, in a zero or negative rate environment, there's no way the commercial banks can anyway be profitable, just because there's very little margin to be made off of a negative interest rate loan. And so what has happened, they've created another way of trying to, the Israeli bank went into their toolkit, and they basically created a new tool or product where the central bank promises to back up the commercial banks any losses, they'll find out a way to still provide some type of fund. So even though the banks might not get paid back as much, they'll still make money directly from the central banks, because the central banks are on a hook, as well as the government is going to back those loans up. So craziness, man. But here's a map here that I thought I would talk about, because this map here shows the current environment of the G20 nations and where they stand as far as their interest rates. And so all the red, so the white is literally at zero, or below zero. I'm sorry. The white is at below zero. So of course that's the EU. We got Japan, and we got South Korea is almost at 1. And so look at how all these nations over here, the leading nations, and these are the leading world currencies, they're all at 0 or 1 or below. And of course, this is not good for those that are saving large amounts of funds in banks, because you will earn nothing, and the rate of inflation in the country that you're probably living in is well beyond their 2% mandate. So therefore, it's already technically in negative terms. So this is just more of what's going on, man. But the Israeli government appears to be creating some new way of further, encouraging and incentivizing their population to take on more debt at a time that the system is coming apart. And I'm curious to get your thoughts on, looks like Europe. I got some articles here. Let me see if I can find them. How France and Germany, they're shutting it down. They're shutting it down. Let me see here. Okay, I got a couple more articles here. So I got a couple things I'm going to talk about here. But this is how the collapse takes place. So here is another article here. And this is very telling as to how bad things really are out here. And so let me pull this up here. And so there's a special meeting being called on November, I think it's November 12th, if I'm not mistaken, ahead of the typical meeting that takes place in, middle of November. So the G20 plans extraordinary meeting to discuss debt relief. And so on November 13th, you're going to have all the leading G20 nations will get together and try to figure out how to ease up some of the losses and pains from basically the continent of Africa. All those second world, third world countries that are heavily indebted, they're trying to find out ways that they can ease some of that pain, because they know they're not getting paid back. But there's more to talk about that. Let me see. I got a call here. Let me see what we got here. Do I have a call? Nope, I had one. Give me a call back and I'll get you on here. Missed a couple calls already. And then here's something as well that's very interesting. This upcoming year, so as I mentioned earlier, we're 60 days away from 2021, or 60 days left in this current year. And here's an interesting poll done by Gallup that talks about how this upcoming holiday shopping, Christmas shopping, will be extremely low, or lower than normal, because of everything that's going on. So imagine how how unprofitable a lot of those retailers will end up being at the end of this year. But we got a call. Hello, caller. Which name are we calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling out of Texas.
How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, I'm calling, listening to your finance analysis, man. I find it interesting. I think you're onto something. I've been telling people back about September last year, 2019. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys remember, but the repo market blew up.
Yes, sir. Yep. And that's when QE officially began, but it wasn't called QE at that time. But yeah.
It was bigger than QE, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was literally like 50 billion or more per day and for quite some time. So the Fed's balance sheet definitely was spiking upwards.
All right. And at that time, people were talking about, man, because of the system and the way it's set up, trillions were needed. Mm-hmm. There was predictions by the end of the year that trillions were needed. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, this COVID came along, and it's a perfect excuse for these bankers to come along and inject money into the system. And that's what they're doing. It's just to keep the system afloat. There's no stimulus. Yeah. This is all to float the system.
Yeah.
And prices are going to go up. I mean, here in Texas, we're seeing ranch land, farmland, people getting out of the city, and everyone's fleeing out. Land prices are going through the roof. I don't know if land prices or if real estate's going to come down until the dollar in dollar terms.
Yeah.
Everything's coming down. everything's going to go up.
Yeah, and it's going to go up until the currency that it's valued in actually goes the opposite direction. And so I think there will be like we're seeing eventually there's going to be some type of correction of off, because as of right now everything is extremely overpriced, and it will become even more so. So there has to be a day of reckoning to where it will come down to where the average person can afford it, and that's when there will be some type of correction or crash after they further inflate things up. So that could be down the line a little bit, I think.
But there's a moral hazard here to what we're seeing with real estate prices and pricing young people out of the market. I've been in real estate for long enough to see that there's not a lot of first-time home buyers in residential.
Yeah.
And there's sure not many young people buying ranches.
Yeah.
A lot of wanting to get out of town now, wanting to get out of the country, and that's going to be more and more common now. Everyone's fleeing the cities. Everyone wanted to be in the cities. Now they want to be outside of town. So
yeah. Now, what area are you referring to? We got a couple people in the chat room from Texas. They're wondering what areas you referring to.
We're hill country, South Texas. The San Antonio region, I'd say, I guess.
Okay. Good deal. Hey, man, I appreciate you checking in and sharing your analysis from the boots on the ground, man. I appreciate you.
Hey, I want to say one thing though.
Yeah, go ahead.
If people really want to make a change and they want to make an impact, they've got to opt out of the system.
Yeah.
And you can choose to do that in many different ways.
Yeah.
But until people choose to stop opting into the system, they're still going to have control.
Right, I agree. And unfortunately, outside of like a lot of the community members here realize that there are certain ways in which you can choose to get back some of your sovereignty in a sense, but yet at the end of the day, it's not enough time to reach the masses. So unfortunately, the ship will go down and we'll go down with it, but hopefully we won't, suffer as much and lose as much. But I think we're all going to be impacted regardless of how it plays out. But we don't have to, completely lose everything, in my opinion. So.
Yeah,
but it's gonna be an adjustment of life for everyone here, because as all this stuff blows through, there's gonna be a downgrade in our standard of living here in this country, because we've been living very, very, very privileged and blessed for far too long in comparison to the rest of the world, and that's where I think the adjustment is going to take place.
You said it right, man. It's good.
Hey, man, but I appreciate you, my friend.
Cheers.
Yeah, be good. Yeah, man. Good call there. Appreciate that. Appreciate you for calling in and sharing what you're seeing out there. So, yeah, feel free to give me a call, man. Phone lines are open. Let's talk about whatever else is out there. And anything happening in your neck of the woods that's out of the norm or a part of the new norm that they're trying to introduce to us. I'm curious to find out what you guys are experiencing out there. And so, as always, for those that are tuning in, I did the shirt drawing for those that were with us last night. And so, Mr. JJ, if you're out there, let me know you're in the chat and let's connect and whatnot, so I can get you your shirt or whatnot. And then, as I mentioned, next drawing will be Monday for some actual weight itself. Okay, and so Goldie says gold is a safe haven, but these traders are selling their gold to make margin calls on their losses. Yeah, so I strongly believe that next week after the election, they're going to intentionally try to draw out the idea that they're inconclusive to who won and the ballots. Of course, I'm seeing numbers today saying that as of right now, there's been more ballots. There's been more ballots received than the prior election, or it was something referring to the fact that they're gonna have issues with those ballots on just being able to count them. And so, of course, I saw something about an additional week of just counting. So yeah, unless the electoral comes out where it's just a complete clear winner, this is going to be drawn out. And as a result of that, I'd imagine next Wednesday, perhaps, we could see a major correction in everything. Therefore, gold, silver might get slammed down. All the things that are considered as assets that you can actually own as a hedge against a debased currency might end up going down. So therefore, next week could be a good buying opportunity for a lot of people if you can, actually get some at that price, because of course premiums are going to go back up as always. So anyway, yeah, let's talk, man. And also for those that are not calling in, feel free to hit at Rethinking the Dollar in the chat. It'll stand out, and I will get to that thought or that question. So we got here. It says stay out of corporate and stop tying yourselves to fake commerce. You will stay in debt. Use lawful money through private transactions. Donna, Gospel Outside Ministries. Okay. Says just sell, sell, sell. Yeah, but a lot of people are selling. Of course, for every seller, there has to be a buyer on the other end. And so a lot of people are shorting the markets and making a lot of paper. So ultimately, unless you're like a skilled trader and you're actually in the equities markets right now and know what you're doing and reaping some of the benefits of a down market, you know, you're not too mad about seeing all that red. But then again, you got a good portion of the population that actually are passive investors. They're the ones that trust their financial futures towards, you know, paid financial advisors that operates off commissions and all that other stuff. Those are the individuals that I'm sure are not too comfortable continuing to see days in the red. But unfortunately, that's a part of the gambling aspect. You know, if it's not insured 100%, you're gambling. Yeah, risk falls on you. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from?
Mike, Tony from Oakland. What's up, brother?
TB, I'm doing good, my man. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. I was trying to let somebody else get in there. I talk to you all the time, man. I feel like you're family.
It's always good to talk to you, man. I don't mind. Keep it coming, man. What's on your mind tonight, man? What's your thoughts about this collapse? Give me some things I missed out on.
About the collapse, there ain't no collapse.
Oh, it's collapsing, man. Social unrest collapse. It's a intentional destruction of everything that's considered norm. Yeah. So norm? You think about massive unemployment.
I call it
huh?
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you think about the lockdown itself was a way of like literally triggering this current economic shift because you got massive unemployment, you got debt defaults, you got all that stuff that's taking place. That right there is it's not normal. It will become, but it's not normal typically.
Well, here's the problem: is every monetary system that has been invented.
Yeah.
I ain't even gonna say invented. Everybody follows the same rule book. Everybody, it goes on for 100 years and then it collapses.
Yeah.
The next one comes up, 100 years and it collapses.
Yeah.
And then that's where we are in this whole financial thing.
Yeah.
But it's the elites, the ones that invented this system, is the one that keep running the system. And what I call it is the graduated animal farm.
Yeah.
We talk about we coming up. We're just new slaves.
Yeah.
They emancipated us. They didn't give us our freedom.
Right.
They just moved us to another pasture, another green pasture.
Right.
And then grass is gonna get brown over there as well.
Yeah.
But like I mentioned before, that's not our fight. Our fight is not of this world. We need to take care of each other and help each other and uplift each other.
Yeah.
That's the fight we've got. They can have this. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting to stay here to be under some dictatorship. Some rule. Come on. I'm like low blood pressure. Spend it if you got it.
Spend it if you got it. Yeah, man. But
what I did want to mention to you is maybe we aren't thinking high enough. What if this fight isn't about U.S. and China?
Okay.
What if it's about AAIB and IMF, World Bank, and NDB?
And so I do believe that's that higher up. I had no doubt that those are the transition. Okay, go get it, because I do agree with you, Sam. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna say it, but go ahead.
With the IMF, they did. George Kimmin ran something just the other day.
Mm-hmm.
How he talked about how the IMF wants to take over everything, the entire world.
Yeah. And
I don't think China is willing to go that far with it.
Right.
China, and when you talk about the NBD or NDB, New Development Bank, I thought it was just a China thing, but upon doing my research, found out that it is the BRICS itself.
Yeah.
And they are loaning money like you would not believe, even during this COVID.
Yeah. Now, so that's very true. So watch this. I put up an article a minute ago talking about how the G20, they're holding a special meeting on the 13th to talk about all the debt that's been, given to these second and third world countries and how they're having issues and debt forgiveness and debt relief. And so what they're trying to do is basically bring China to the table and have China, because as of right now, majority of that debt has been issued through China. So about 60% of debt out there, it happens to be through China, predominantly in Africa. So they need China to agree to sit down at the table to begin the restructuring. And so China is apparently saying that they'll be willing to talk, but they're not trying to restructure to where they're not still in a very favorable position with all the debt that they've given out there. So first thing that came to my mind was they want to still have a say-so in how they usher in the BRICS and the AIIB and all those other entities they've created in the last 15 years or so. So that's the first thing that came to my mind, is that China still, they want to have their hands on Africa, regardless of whatever debt restructuring, because they're not going to forgive the debt. They're just going to basically probably ask for some land, some territory, or some rights, or, ask for actually human, capital or whatever. But yeah, so I definitely believe that is the higher level of thought that we're not being told about or talking about much.
Well, with China and their loans, as opposed to, and you know how crooked the World Bank is and IMF is,
Mm-hmm.
but China with their loan, and I've read that they've given out some, and their return is 4%, and everybody's just loving it. There's no strings attached,
Mm-hmm.
and with the AAIB, there's no one-man show. There's
Mm-hmm.
no big eyes, little U's,
Yeah.
and the 5 BRICS nations. If they wanted to change something, the other 4 would have to agree with the one that's out. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a nice little system they got set up, and they've got 100 countries signed on. There's only 190 in the world.
Yeah.
They got 100 countries signed on already. So maybe this thing's further along than we thought.
Yeah. So regardless, part of the cut. So here's a primary reason I believe that things you're talking about is what this ultimately is about, because here we are in the Western world. They're talking about a second lockdown, and in China, we hear nothing about what's going on in China other than me seeing video clips of people partying, and as if like COVID just came through one time and they're good overall. And so, if it originated in China, how come they're doing so well, but yet over here in the Western world we're struggling? They're talking about second lockdowns and cases. So all this cases is a cover up for this transition of power, I believe, towards the East, and furthering the BRICS and all that other stuff that they put in play a long time ago. So all this leads, in my opinion, back towards the Eastern Hemisphere becoming that next world power that I think the U.S. has bought into, because we've been talking about several years how Trump has been meeting with China, and they've been talking. All this is structured. Like the COVID is a cover up for this transition, which will probably bring about all those other entities created by them as the world power. So now it's just a matter of trying to cause as much chaos, I believe, and distraction as this transfer takes place, which will ultimately make us on this side very desperate and accept whatever they roll out.
It's not about COVID. We know that.
Yeah.
The one thing that I would encourage people to pay attention to is these countries that are going lockdown
Mm-hmm.
are countries that signed on to the Paris Accord agreement,
Mm-hmm.
that China signed on to, that the UN is signed on to, that the World Bank has reneged on.
Mm-hmm.
They signed an MOU with China talking about, we're green energy, we back you and everything, but they reneged on it, and they want to stick with gas and fracking.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem with the Green Deal. They don't want to do that. They want the independent energy,
Mm-hmm.
like solar.
Yeah.
And so the World Bank may be out, IMF may be out, and then what does that leave you with? Somebody that's giving you a better deal? I'll take it.
Yeah. Isn't that very convenient? Hey, I appreciate you, TB. Good to talk to you, my man.
You too, my man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And that is the quadrillion-dollar transfer mechanism, the COVID cover-up. Like, the actual health ramifications is nowhere near as severe as as what it's being used for when it comes to the transition of the world's monetary system. And so literally, I was thinking about doing a video today that after next Tuesday, the 2020 presidential election will be the last election in the United States of America under the global dollar standard. And so between now and our next election, 2024, if we have it in the way we've had them before, which I believe, definitely there's going to be a shakeup of the Constitution. There's going to be some, between now and 2024, there's going to be a lot of change politically, and we won't have the same type of governmental structure as we had prior to now, which will make it even easier for the Eastern Hemisphere to become more of a superpower, because I believe the U.S. politicians will eventually sell out to China, because as of right now, we still owe China, a lot. So therefore, I think, this election coming up will be the last one under this current political structure, as well as under the dollar standard. Because once everybody goes to the digital currency and they begin linking up those digital currency towards that one world currency, who needs a Federal Reserve note? The Federal Reserve will probably be rolled into whatever the Bank of International Settlements or whatever bank they come up with, and the so-called basket of currencies that they try to roll out there amongst themselves. So we'll see. But what else we got going on, man? I see a lot of activity in the chat here. Yeah, give me a call, man. Let's talk. Anybody got any other things to add into the equation on how this collapse is taking place, and any opposing viewpoints? Let me know. Digital currencies, man, like that is the future. That is where it's current. As a matter of fact, it's here now. So it's not in the future. It's here now, and it's just a matter of enough chaos and basically confiscation of the public's wealth and the shrinkage, the destruction of the working class, aka the middle class. Then at that point, it'll be easier for everybody to be wanting to sign up and download the digital dollar app, the United States, Treasury coin, or whatever they're gonna call that crap. Anyway, let me see. I'm ranting too much. It says, how do we owe China when we print money? Charlie, we owe China because for the last, since the gold window closed, and pretty much in the early 90s with the whole trade deal with NAFTA, I believe initially is when the Chinese or China began importing everything. Everything became made in China. So right when the whole made in China became the norm, and everywhere you look now says made in China, usually as a result of those NAFTA trade deals, we start exporting debt and they start importing goods. And so as of now, they've been our creditor, reinvesting back into the United States of America, treasuries, whatnot. And of course, they've been dumping them over the last couple of years, but so we still owe them big time. So China has been our creditors. They've been lending to us in a sense and holding our debt and allowing us to run deficits for the last, 20 years, give or take. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Mark Camille from South Florida.
Mark, how you doing, my man?
Chat room.
Appreciate you, my friend. What's in your mind tonight?
I just wanted to basically ask you to talk about, or just give me your thoughts on, basically the black market. There's a lot of shady things that goes on in this economy and the worldwide economy, a lot of illegal transactions, which is why I don't believe that a digital currency will really be established. Like, I think there will be digital currencies, but they'll never get rid of cash completely because too many dirty politicians and officials like to conduct illegal transactions that they don't want to be traced.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah. And so great question. And so my personal opinion is that, of course, cash will still be around. Now, whether or not it'll be something that, on the surface with primary vendors or whatnot, whether they'll be willing to accept it. I'd imagine all your major retailers that you shop at will probably not be accepting cash because everything's going to be scanned, Apple Pay and all that other crap, or whatever the digital preference will be, because that's what they're going to expect. And over time, the younger generation especially, they don't use cash already. So it won't take much to convince the world to give over their cash. So outside of those that understand the importance of having a little bit of cash, now that generation, which probably be our generation, once we get old and die out, everybody underneath us will be all digital. They won't even know what paper is. They'll probably look at paper like, man, why would you even want to touch that? Because they've been conditioned to believe that it's convenient and faster and easier to just swipe your phone or tap your phone. So for the black market's sake, I believe next, how many ever years, there's going to be cash still around. Yes. Now it's just a matter of who will be willing to accept it. What can you do with it? And of course, they're going to try to paint you as being, a terrorist, or they're going to try to make it look like you're hiding something. You're a criminal. So they're going to make the average person feel bad, look bad, to where most people won't want to deal with you directly, more than likely. As far as the politicians, they do that now. So they do it in digital dollars. So, we got the too big to fail banks been money laundering dollars, trillions of dollars forever. So they're good because they know about that. But it's just the small fries, those that are expected to pay taxes, those are the ones you can't have any options, such as cash and alternatives like cryptocurrency eventually. So, but paper will still circulate. It's just a matter of, will people be willing to accept it to get to buy what it is you want to buy when you want to buy it. So, but I don't think it's going nowhere.
Okay. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a great night.
Yes, sir, my friend. Appreciate the question. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Great question, man. Great question. Appreciate the idea. I see a super chat. Let me acknowledge that. Mr. Vince Grant, how you doing, buddy, man? It says everything is getting hammered right now. Now that supposedly Vinny Viola from Virtue Capital is rigging silver, will we ever see fairly trade silver or any commodity really? Vince, man, as far as the Virtue Capital rigging of silver, so I think Big Square talked about that earlier. I didn't get a chance to listen to it, so I didn't dive into it. But manipulation is the name of the game, man. The markets themselves are rigged so that those that operate in the paper and the contract and the futures realm benefits. So I personally, that there will come a day of reckoning. You cannot continue to, manipulate at a point where more people are becoming aware of the importance of getting physical. So the paper price and the physical price will eventually separate to where, once again, the physical is not as plentiful as the paper and all the futures crap. So at some point there will be a decoupling of all that stuff. Who knows when, what, where? As of right now, the system is 100 plus years in their control. They, meaning the banking sector, the financiers of this current monetary system. So they'll probably rig it for much longer. But once again, I've always talked about how manipulation can be your best friend. Of course, that. So when the price dips, get your weight up. And so me personally, man, as more chaos unfolds, as more of the digital illusions of wealth that we've been positioned to believe is being stuff of value, as it starts to falter, and as the idea of the continuation of quantitative easing and stimulus and funny money being created, it just makes me appreciate the realness and actually being able to hold something physical. Like being able to hold something physical that I know, regardless of what the futures price say it is, it's in my possession. I don't have to call up, my financial advisor and say, "Hey, man, can you sell this? No, I got it in my hand, and I'll ride out the storm as long as I can." And of course, knowing at the end, when the last time you've seen some Federal Reserve notes at the bottom of an ocean in a sunken treasure ship? So that doesn't happen. So, yeah, thanks for the question, my friend, and thoughts. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello? Going once, going twice? All right. Yeah, man. Good stuff. So let's talk. What else we got going on here? I see some as to get your snow gear today. Get your snow gear. SDR Digital. Once again, the entities is attempting to control this transition. They've already have a game plan as to what they want to do. Now it's a matter of, will the people comply and allow it to be rolled out in a timely manner? And so the SDR Digital, whatever, is a possibility. Who knows? But I wouldn't doubt it coming. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Keenan calling from the suburbs of Atlanta. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, my man. What's on your mind tonight? Tell me about this collapse. Are we in a collapse, yes or no, in your opinion?
We are, but I don't think that we're in the stages where the grasshoppers realize it yet.
Okay.
I don't think the pain's there yet.
Yeah.
But before we start, I got just one huge favor to ask you.
Okay.
For Halloween, you got to be Morpheus, and that's like really more than just a costume for a lot of us. Man.
Yeah.
That's right. So you got to do that. You don't have to with Isaac.
I understand. Morpheus. Okay. I'll take that in consideration, man. What else on your mind?
So obviously, I think like most of us, right, I've kind of accepted what's going to happen. But probably to get through it, or I would almost dare say survive, I'd have to do something drastic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's within the core of people around me.
Okay.
So I started listening to a couple audiobooks just to try to get a narrative. Mark Goodwin, you got Glenn Tatum. A lot of people have heard about 299 Days. Mark Goodwin's got a good series.
Mm-hmm.
But it walks you through, obviously, with characters. It's fiction. But the same things we talk about technically,
mm-hmm.
putting you in the mindset of somebody who's seeing it like that. So this is a suggestion to the crew.
Mm-hmm.
but it's really helped me kind of narrate maybe some of the things I can do, but then be prepared so that my mind's not worried about what just happened.
Yeah.
But boom, this is kind of a way to play it out.
Yeah. Okay, and that's real, man. That is real. That is real. So what I'm getting from this is, you know, the education side of things. You know, it helps you keep your mind off everything around you, so that you can be mentally sharp and ready to respond as things unfold, huh?
Well, yeah, because you, Gregory, Chris, the whole crew of people we listen to, you can't tell me anything else to make me smarter. Like, you've already educated.
Yeah.
So there's no technical nuance I'm going to get out of our nightly calls or me listening to this.
Right.
Now it's like trying to figure out, okay, this is how it unfolds.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good point, man.
I have a playbook of what I would do when people realize that China just, you know, dumped however many $1 trillion of debt and then just hit the fan.
Yeah. Very true, man.
I'm gonna stop rambling.
No, but I appreciate you calling and sharing that, man. I feel the same way, and that's why I try to figure out how to, you know, have an opportunity to engage the community and still be able to deliver value, as well as have others get involved, because we got about 300 people on tonight, and there's a lot of smart individuals out there. And by us all communicating and calling in and sharing in the chat, we are able to encourage ourselves, A, but then also B, there's always nuggets I can pick up. You know, so I don't know it all, but I need a little bit of nuggets here and there to put it all together myself. So that's why, like, I've stopped interviewing so many of the guys that I've talked to forever, because, you know, like, you know, the Michael Pintos and, you know, who else? All the people I love speaking with, they just say the same thing, man. Prepare, the world's coming to an end. Get your gold, get your silver, get your gun. I'm like, dog, like, come on now, like, you know what I'm saying? There's only so much that you can hear before you're like, dog, I'm tired of that. So I understand.
So I'm gonna leave you with two things. First of all, it's great that, you know, besides you and I, there's 298 people out there that we know we're not crazy.
Yeah.
And then secondly, there's going to be two parties in America in 2021.
Yeah.
It's going to be ants and grasshoppers. Have a good night.
I like that. All right, man. Be good. Oh, man, that's a good one. Ants and grasshoppers. Wow. Good stuff, man. Yeah, man, it's good to be able to connect, man. Like I said, like, not right now, man, I'm more than confident that the RTD community, you know, come from a wide variety of experiences, education, knowledge, you name it. So, you know, there is no community, there is no talk show without being able to connect with you guys. So you guys keep me on my toes. I appreciate you. All right. Hello, caller. How you doing? Which name we calling from?
You know, there is no community. There is no talk show.
Listen to myself. Hello? Hello, caller. Going once, going twice. Anybody there?
Yes. Hi, Mike. Brother Dan, you just put it out there, sir.
How you doing?
You just said it's all of those things that are combined in what we're dealing with today.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you this, and this is just personally, and I know that this is universally, that the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is coming true, and we really need to take another look at that teaching, because we are all up in everything that man spoke.
Yeah.
And that is the spiritual side of what we're dealing with right now today. And I never call in, brother, but I just felt the spirit to call you and let you know that, and let us know that, so that we can unite and be okay. Be all right. It's going to be all right. Yes, it's going to be all right.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. Do me a favor real quick. And so I personally, apart from we have some community members here in the Nation of Islam, but I've never really dived deep into it other than just some surface stuff. Share with us one or two things that, you know, from a prophecy side of things that have come true, or some ways that it's mentioned on how to navigate these waters, if you don't mind.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I lost you.
You there? I got you.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, brother, you just really inspired me to even say that, and it's so dynamic, and everything, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, academically, all of that is right there, and all we have to do is tap in. I thank you. You are a great host, and I finally caught you live. Thank you very much.
I appreciate
This is Sandra calling from Chicago.
All
number
right.
2.
Chicago, number 2.
My brother, thank you. Peace and love.
All right,
And
you as well.
blessings.
Be good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. I appreciate that. Yeah, so it's always good to hear from a variety of people in different areas. Okay. So let's keep it moving right along. Appreciate that. And so I see let me see here. We got international emergency economies power acts will prevent China from dumping trillions of dollars all at once. ATIMO, international emergency economics powers. Okay, so I'm not too well versed in that right there, but I don't think China will dump a large amount just because they're gonna stand to lose a lot. So that's why they wouldn't dump it, but they will spend them though, which they're doing in Africa. Hello, Carl. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's William from La Jolla, California. I'm calling back again.
Yes, sir. William, what's on your mind, my friend?
Well, I'm listening to what you're saying, and I like the idea of moving forward with what we've got coming up, which is a big mess.
Mm-hmm.
But don't you think it's purposeful? I look at everything like the strategy took place. I just saw it today.
Yeah.
It's unfolding. It's not the fog of war or financial misery.
Yeah.
It's a direction.
Yeah. And I think, and unfortunately, that direction, it's starting to really, from a global standpoint, just the words, the new world order. I've heard politicians talk about that for the last 30 years, even like every president of some kind mentioned, probably by accident or intentionally, we need to come together, unite or whatever, and have a new world order. So that right there comes to mind when I think about, where this is, where they are trying to orchestrate this towards in moving forward. But not everybody want to participate. I don't want to participate in that, but I'm on this planet right now. So I got to figure out how to keep my cool and trust in the Lord and, try to be a leader right now.
The Lord wants us to take care of our own family and community, you see?
Yeah.
So even though, let's say you're a millennial and didn't ever even find out about any of this, not even now, they don't feel responsible for the debt that's been created, for example. But because I license financially, that's where that's the prism that I look at the world at. Because I see the strategy taking place in front of me, sort of in the numbers, just because that's what I do for a living as an analyst.
Yeah.
Of what my prediction is of the future mathematics. And it's not like I'm any genius. I basically listen to you. I listen to all the people that are smart on air, but I really appreciate listening to you. Yeah, I've got a lot to think about, but war is the only place where these Democrats and Republicans agree, and they funded Trump 120% for his Pentagon budget when I thought that they all hated Trump and what he wanted to do. You see, they're on the same side.
Yeah,
that's what we're up against.
Yeah, that's the continuation of the military-industrial complex, and then the creation or the expansion now of the pharmaceutical-industrial complex. So, as I mentioned, we're at war.
Way beyond that, because that's last generation's war that we're now facing the debt of, because we paid a lot for pharmaceuticals that weren't even for our better society. See.
Yeah. So we're paying for it now. So today's generation is paying from the baby boomer generation and beyond that. So it's and then that's where.
What about the concept of bonds or debt, which is what's being created? Like everybody thinks right now, why don't you give me some free money? Everybody thinks in terms of it's backed by nothing. The U.S. dollar is backed by the military. Well, I think differently. Yeah. Do you want to hear kind of the thought that I'm having about the dollar?
Yeah, feel free. Go ahead.
Yeah, the U.S. dollar, I think, is actually backed by us as living beings, working or otherwise, with a monetary symbol around us somehow in these complex behind-the-scenes math of these logarithms. But it's been going on for a while, and then they keep changing the landscape of the financial or the global financial structure, which has now landed on the square fiat of the U.S. dollar. But it is backed by bonds with interest. Let me tell you, they are backed by something you don't think about, which is our children's unborn children.
Yeah, your social security number.
And on to our families. I mean, the debt of the sovereign
into bonds with interest palmed off, or the losses palmed off on the public. Even worse, that's what's really happening right now.
Yeah.
It's the gambling losses of their investments going into destruction rather than abundance.
Yeah.
Sweeping over onto the public. And that used to be called bondage. But I'll let you go. You're the smart one. Let me know.
No, man, you did a great job. I appreciate your thoughts on that, man. Be good. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that is good stuff, man. That's why I mentioned, like, you know, it's exciting to be able to be a part of a very smart and sharp community. So I appreciate you guys for chiming in and sharing your thoughts. So we are at the hour point tonight. And so it looks like Mr. JJ I didn't see a JJ in the chat. And so that means he's not here. So I feel kind of like I'm going to go ahead and try to spin the wheel one more time. And so for those, I'm going to... So let me hear. So I'm about to go back to my screen here. And so what we're doing is, last night I mentioned about having a giveaway for the RTD shirt. And so I picked the winner, Mr. JJ. Didn't hear from him via the chat, I don't think. And so let me go ahead. I'm going to hit spin the wheel again and see if we can get another winner. So I'm going to pick another winner. And there's 11 people who hashtag get your weight up all together. And let's see if we can get another winner. We got Tommy Brown. Is there a Tommy Brown in the building? Can you please raise your hand up, Mr. Tommy Brown? Anybody named Tommy Brown in the audience? So, yeah, as we're coming to the end, no telling if Tommy Brown was with us tonight or if he left already. But it says, what color is alluding to the pre-Euro? Okay, that's a lot of stuff there. Okay, so I will save it for tomorrow's live stream. So I'm going to write that down, Mr. Tommy Brown and JJ, either one. If I connect with y'all again, we will do that. So Adonis says, I am JJ. But whoever JJ is, whoever JJ and Tommy Brown is, that's their handle for their YouTube channel as well, their YouTube name. So that's how I'll have to see that in order to know. Tommy Brown is in the building. Okay, I see Tommy Brown right there. Tommy in the building. Okay, Tommy Brown, man, I appreciate you for participating. Do me a favor, if you don't mind, right now, or shoot me an email. Shoot me an email, and preferably, hopefully, Tommy Brown is in your email handle-ish or something like that, Tommy or Brown, so I know, that it's you. I see Randall Commando, so Tommy's here. So Tommy Brown, shoot me an email. Go to rethinkingthedollar.com. It's admin@rethinkingthedollar.com. And long as, Tommy Brown or something, Tommy Brown or whatever is in that email address, I'll know it's you. Shoot me your place you want me to ship your shirt, and I'll ship it to you, and we'll get it to you, my friend. So that's the best way to connect with me. Or Tommy Brown, if you're on Twitter, go on Twitter and connect with me there on Twitter. And so mine is, let me show this real quick. Let me go to here, profile. Here we go. So go to Twitter and you'll find Rethinking the Dollar. It's Rethinking the Dollar. And then just follow me there and then shoot me a message and we'll talk further. But other than that, I'd love to get you your gift, my friend. So thanks again for participating. So the next drawing will be on Monday. And so I'm going to be looking to give away to the Patreons. So for a minimum of $5, you can become a Patreon, which is just a support of the channel. I share stuff there as well. And then you'll automatically be entered to win some weight. And so for those that are not familiar with it, the weight is simple. It's this little beauty on the screen here. And you'll win it or whatnot if you want. So just a way to, get some weight for just, being a blessing to the channel. So anyway, people, be blessed, be safe. I'll be back tomorrow, Lord willing. And we will talk further, as there'll be more stuff worth talking about, I'm sure. So other than that, be blessed, be safe. And if you want to support the channel as well, the Patreon, and we'll go from there. But I will see you later. Peace. Hey there. Sorry for this interruption, but I wanted to bring something to your attention. If you've been enjoying this live stream, why don't you partner with me and be a support to the channel via Patreon membership for just a minimum of $5 a month. All you have to do is scroll down beneath this video here, click the Patreon link, then consider donating as little as $5 a month towards the channel. A little bit of crumbs can go a long way, and I appreciate your support. Now, let's get back to this live stream.